Alright, welcome to our very first track guide. This is a series where we take the fastest guys in the world, typically, and just break down one of their laps. This is essentially what I have been wanting for GT7, but doesn't seem to exist, so we thought, why not, let's do this ourselves. So this week, this daily race A is at Brands Hatch, and we're in the 911 GT3 car. So before we do anything, we'll watch a full hot lap from the cockpit view, and then after that we'll do a breakdown and run through the whole lap and take a bit more time with it. So let's do that. Alright, so here we are on the back straight. Obviously this thing is full speed. You'll start coming into the first corner. It's a sweeping right-hander. This car in itself is, to drive it fast, it's pretty understeery. So you really want to hold your pace coming into the corner, let the car slide out in a controlled manner. It's going to take some practice, but what we're looking for here is when he, obviously let's go to the accelerator, which is kind of between the 3 and the 2 marker, but we're wanting to know when he puts his brake on. So you can see here, he's essentially putting brakes on just before the 2nd marker, halfway. He's kind of playing with it a little bit, but you can see how the car is basically understeering through this corner. He's trying to hold as much pace as possible. If we go back a little bit, he's so he's not quite on the edge here. You can cut it to the edge of the road on the left hand side, but you do run the risk of dropping a tire onto the grass. But he's essentially, so he's half brake, 50% brake, almost 75% brake, and he's turning in just past that line. Not trying to turn it too much. What you essentially want to do is be understeering through this corner, so holding as much pace as you possibly can. Again, this will take practice, but you want to be dipping a tire or 2 tires across this edge just to try and, you know, make the corner as short as possible, but also as wide as possible. He drops into 3rd and essentially just holds 3rd through this corner and gets on the accelerator as soon as he's comfortable. And then obviously, again, wanting to try and make this corner as wide as possible, by getting basically the whole car off the road. You don't want your tires to cross over this red and white this red and white you don't want your car to essentially cross over these red and white curves. You can have two tires across it, but if you get all 4 tires across it, you're gonna get a disqualification for the lap, and your lap time won't count. So he's coming through that corner, and then obviously 3rd into 4th, get as much speed as you can. So again, from the cockpit view, He's coming in, he's full accelerator, he lets off just before the second, so between second and third marker on the left hand side there, the brake markers. And then just past the second he goes to about 75% to full, actually brakes there, and then just essentially feathers the brake a little bit, comes through, he's up on top of the curb there. Again, you don't want to obviously leave with four wheels, you'll get your time deleted, but you'll also just control your car pretty easily, and you want to take this thing as wide as you possibly can without, again, leaving all four tires off that curb. And accelerate through. So again, this is from bonnet view. I know a lot of you like to race in bonnet view. You're in fourth gear. He lets off the accelerator here. Brakes come on, and then he kind of trail brakes in a little bit, and then just plays it a little bit to get the angle right. He comes through, cuts that curb. So about half the car's off. And then again, coming through. Most of the car is off the track here, but you want to keep at least two tires on. So you're coming through to the third. It's essentially braking under the bridge. So thinking you're going as fast as you can out of that first swooping corner. You got the accelerator on, and then just as you hit the shadow of the bridge is when you start applying your brake. Full brake. And he's basically going to trail into it to try and get the rotation on it. You're in second now from third, and you'll know you'll get the rotation. You'll start to feel the car come in and really behave and do what you want it to do halfway through that corner if you get your brake marker right. And if you trail brake through properly, so essentially what you want to do is you want to kind of make the corner like a little bit of a cone. You can ride the curb the whole way through here, but if you come out a little bit and get a bit more of a sharper entry here, you'll get more speed down to the next corner. So he's in second, he's just touching this curb with his right hand tires, and he's just kind of getting on the accelerator now, and he'll try to apply that. So he's full already, so he's through there. Second into third, again making this as wide as possible. His two right hand tires there are still on the track. If you go too much past this again, you will get your time knocked out. So you take a bit of practice, but you can get through it. So again, so he's braking just under that shadow of the bridge, full brakes, trail braking through down to second, about half brakes through, and then he's off. So he's letting the car turn in and then getting on the accelerator as soon as he can, making this corner as wide as possible so he can apply the accelerator, and then comes through again. Now we'll just show you the bonnet view, give you a bit more of an idea. So he's come out a little bit from the corner, and then he's cutting in quite sharp just to make this as straight as possible on the accelerator into third, and then away you go. Now this corner coming up here is quite fast. You want to make it as wide as possible. It's not really, it's kind of, so he's coming in. The brake marker is essentially the number one board there on the right, and you want to again understeer the car, so hold as much momentum as you can in second gear through here. You want to cut this corner as much as possible without your right hand tires leaving the track, which will make it as wide as possible. So he's full accelerator through there into third, keeping his tires sitting just on the track, not going too wide. You can obviously play with this, but you know when you get it wrong, you'll get your lap wiped. But full accelerator straight through here. So third into second. In this view, it looks like you basically leave the track, and then full accelerator. Out, and then from bonnet view into second, a little bit of brake, and then basically straight on the accelerator through that. So once you know you got your line right, just full accelerator as much as you can to keep your momentum going. So when you come in here, he's full accelerator at the 2 board, and we're just looking for like there's not really a solid brake markers are aligned. It's kind of between the 1 and the 2 board, or like 3/4 between the 1 and the 2 board. So again, play around with it, but that's where he's starting to put his brakes on. He's got full brakes by the 1 board. In a second, he's playing with the brake just to get his turn in right, and then on the accelerator as soon as he can, making it as wide as possible. Again, keeping those left-hand tires on the track. Coming on this angle, you can see he's still full accelerator. We're kind of halfway here. We're just past halfway, so 3/4 is between the 1 and the 2 board is where he starts putting his brakes on. He kind of into second. He's kind of trail braking, just playing with a little bit to get his angle right. He's not quite touching this inside curve. You can do it. Depending on the car you're driving, it can upset your car a little bit, but you essentially just want to practice getting as close to this as possible. And once you get your entry in right, you can obviously get on your accelerator. He's on about halfway, 3/4, but if you get it right, essentially you can get on your accelerator very quickly. In the second, third, and then away you go down the back straight, which this is quite a long one. So if you get that right, that can be really critical in the race, especially if someone in front of you gets it wrong, because you get a really good draft behind them, and it can be a great way to get an overtake in the race here if you get that corner right. And that corner back there is notoriously difficult to get right, because it's kind of a wide entry that gets tighter, and then you got to go wide again. Anyway, practice it. You know what I mean. Bonnet view, on the brakes, turning in second, touching the brake a little bit to get his turn in right, and then as soon as he can, he's on the accelerator again, just working his way up to full acceleration, making sure he doesn't leave the track, and then away you go, straight down the back straight. Again, this is quite a long back straight, so if you get a good exit on that corner, it can make a big difference. You can get quite a few overtakes down this back bit. Just be careful coming into that next corner, because people can do some lunging. So as you can see here, as he comes into the second brake board, he's off the accelerator and applying his brake pretty well straight away, just kind of working into it. And then he's on full brake before the 1 board, and then trail braking into this corner. This corner's longer than you think, so again, if you can hold as much speed as possible, and make this corner as wide as possible by cutting this inside curve, you can gain a bit of time through here. A lot of guys will scrub speed or overshoot the corner, so a bit of practice and you should be cruising here without any difficulties. So down to third, you can see he's essentially got the car half off the track here to come through. He's just trying to make it as wide as possible. Back right 2 tires are still on the track here. If you push this too wide, you will lose time, but yeah, you need to make it as wide as possible to keep the flow of the lap. So he's in 4th, down to 3rd now before the 1 board, and trail brakes in a little bit, but essentially then coasts and just waits a second before he gets on the accelerator. Goes as wide as possible, keeps 2 tires on the track, and away you go. And then from bonnet view, same thing again. He comes in, he's off the accelerator there, he's nearly full brake here, so halfway. He's full brake now, halfway through, and then he turns in basically the board in the 3rd, obviously. And then out. This whole section is really fast. It's very easy to overbrake, and pretty critical that you learn to cut the corners here without actually losing your lap time, because you do gain a lot of speed doing this. So a bit of practice to get comfortable with the car. But anyway, he comes into here. He's getting his full speed off the accelerator, kind of halfway between the 1st and the 2nd board. Full brake by the time he gets to the 1st board. Turning in. half cutting that again, not as aggressive. Again, if you get that wrong, this can actually spit you straight off the track, so play around with it. But you're in third, you're holding a lot of speed, you're oversteering a little bit, you're cutting the corner to come as wide through here as possible, keeping your two right-hand tyres on the track and maintaining as much speed as you can through here. So in cockpit view, he's off the accelerator, he's on the brake, turning in. It's important, so he's in third here, he's not got any brake on, he's not got any accelerator on, he's just letting the car essentially oversteer through this corner for a second until it gets stable. Touches it, and then as soon as he's off that curve, he's straight on the accelerator again. Sometimes it can be good just to let a car sit for a second, depending on the car you're driving, and just allow it to settle before you put the accelerator down. But every car's different, so you just have to just play around with it. Then from bumper view, he's full brake, got his angle right, turned in, then full accelerator. In third, I believe he'll go to fourth. Yep, fourth through here. And then again, he's braking. You know, this can creep up on you. He's braking a bit earlier than you would probably naturally think to do it. Where are we? So again, he's basically between the 1 and the 2 boards, so it's not a clear marker really to guide you. Understeering like all well through here. You see a lot of people go off here in the race, but he's into third. He's essentially drifting his tyres in. I wish I could get a front view of this. He just keeps his left-hand tyres on the track, on the curbs there, which allows him to carry as much speed as he can through, and then essentially straight on the accelerator once he feels comfortable and the car's settled. So on the brakes, third. Yeah, playing with it just to get that angle right, and straight on the accelerator again. He's in third. So it looks like he actually turned in a little bit too early and had to correct, so he could potentially get that better. But either way, it's a really fast time. Straight on the accelerator. And then you're looking straight away for your next brake marker. So we're in third. From that corner, looking, he's off the accelerator just before the 1 board. Full brakes, trailing in, get the angle right, and then he's just letting it go straight into third. Essentially full accelerator. Really overdoing it here. You can see he almost loses both wheels onto the grass. You got to do this when you're practicing, but again, if you get it right and hold as much speed as possible, and understeer into all these corners, you will, once you get it right, you will come out on top. You get a much faster time. So then you come into cockpit view, he's off the accelerator, just starting to brake, almost full brake by the 1 board. Trail brakes in, gets his angle right, straight on the accelerator again. He's in third. He overcooks that corner a little bit, but heaps of speed. If he didn't lose it there, he would have gained even more time. He's in third, he's off, and then full brake, turning in, second, straighten back into third, full accelerator, overcooks it but recovers, and then up into fourth before the final corner of the lap. So again, coming in here, full accelerator, halfway between the 1 and the 2 brake marker. There's not a lot of really clear brake markers on this this track, so just be thinking roughly halfway between those two most of the lap. Full brakes, trail braking in, and then once he's comfortable, he lets it all go, lets the car settle, and then on the accelerator right through. So you can see he's turning in at about the 1 marker, in third, and you want to get up on that curb a little bit. You can cut this quite a bit and still be okay. Just obviously don't put your accelerator down too much when you're on the grass. Full accelerator as soon as you are comfortable, making the corner as wide as possible. There's no real need to leave the track here because it is a sweeping corner that you're kind of sliding into. But you want it to be as wide as possible to hold as much speed as you can. So from cockpit view, second halfway, he's off and starting to brake. He's full brake by the one board, and then when he hits that, he starts turning in. You're in third, you cross just over, and then full accelerator all the way through. Last time from bonnet view, he's in the third, full brake, gets his angle right, and then full accelerator, using the full width of the track, and then he cuts back into the right. For a quick time, it's always good to make the lap as short as possible, and that's all he's doing here. And yeah, just a home run to the back straight. So once he crosses this line, you'll see that he does a 1:36.441, and that's Brands Hatch in the 911 GT3. Hope you find this helpful.